Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear humanity, today I've come and we are going to discuss health because we touched the topic of health regarding young men and young women of modern times. We are going to continue. We'll have a couple of episodes regarding this subject of health. We started by asking young women that what does your life means to you as a teen-year-old beautiful girl? What does life means to you? 20-year beautiful or girl or lady? And what does life means to you? A 20 to 30-year old lady? The same question we did ask to young men, a 15-year-old boy. What does life means to you? What does life means to you? You as a 18-year-old boy. And what does life means to you as a 20-year-old boy? And what does life means to you as a 20 to 30-year-old man? We did ask this question as a concerning factor regarding a little girl born in Kenya, a sub-Saharan African country, and she was born by a mother who is herself a child. A 19-year-old little girl gave birth to a 3-year-old little girl after she went out on a date when a boy said to her, I'll take you out and buy you a bottle of champagne. And that very bottle of champagne ended up kind of whereby the girl, the 19-year-old little girl, became pregnant. And after becoming pregnant, she also contracted an AIDS virus, AIDS HIV virus, of which she has passed on to her 3-year little girl. So with that, we wanted to know exactly what does really life means to you, young men and young women and young men of today, in modern times today, because today we are in the 2024, the month of July, and the date is 18th of July. My people, many of you around the world, maybe time and time again you come across flashing news. Some of these news either have atrocities, are very kind of very traumatizing atrocities, very traumatizing atrocities, even being under the dark, whatever, the dark cloud of the disease of HIV and AIDS is also something that is very deadly or very traumatizing to any young girl, let alone the girl who we are talking about, who is in Kenya, a country called in Kenya, a sub-Saharan African country. The reason why I'm raising this point is to kind of awaken my people from the dangers that are kind of in one or the other. Some people define these kind of dangers or atrocities or traumatizing or whatever as an entertainment kind of entertainment programs and whatever, but it's not. That's why I did pose a question to young men, to very young men who are now in the future, because if you are over 15 years old, you are already in the future. If you are over 15 years old, you are already in the future. And when you are 18, 19, then you are already in the future. But what does life mean to you? Does it mean you wake up and you start flushing, drinking bottles of cognac, champagne, they call it champagne, John Walker, there is that whatever they call John Walker, and so many whatever men consume, young men consume, so many alcohol, whatever men consume. And for your information, as young men and young ladies, Allah has forbidden, Allah has laid down a holy divine law that prohibits men and women from the consumption of alcohol. One of the reasons why Allah did forbid men and women from the consumption of alcohol, medically or biologically, a human body does not have any mechanisms and does not know how to remove any alcohol toxin element from the human body, because that's how when Allah created human beings, He did not put any mechanism or He did not put that element of mechanism that removes alcohol elements from a human body. With that, Allah laid down a holy divine law which prohibits men and women from the consumption of alcohol. With that, in medically, there is what is a prescription or a prescription, I think it's a prescription, which says prevention is better than cure. Every law that Allah laid down on human beings is a prevention is better than cure directive. Is Allah laid down all divine holy laws as a prescription or a divine holy directive, which is prevention is better than cure. So if Allah says do not consume alcohol as it is forbidden, it's a prevention is better than cure. Because what comes after when you as young men and young women put alcohol in your bodies? We are going to look at it in a few whatever, maybe to remind you how deadly alcohol is to a human body. My people, young men and women, alcohol is one of the deadliest drugs, deadliest intoxicant, deadliest kind of deadliest, one of the deadliest drug, intoxicant, and the most, and worryingly enough, is very, very widely available at any given time, at any supermarket shelves. That is 24 hours a day. You as young men and women, you can easily enter shop. If you want a ton of champagne, if you have means to carry it, you carry it to wherever you want to go and sit and consume it. A ton of alcohol, a ton of champagne. If you wanted it, if you have the money, you do. So that's how deadly it is. Yet it's one of the most deadliest drugs and one of the most deadliest intoxicants. When alcohol enters a human body, it has what we call alcohol toxins. These toxins, they have a gunk. A gunk is something very, very, very unpleasant. When that gunk and the toxins enter the human blood, the first thing is that the toxins straight away they attack the red and white blood electrical spasms in every red and white blood cell, red and white blood cells. Once the alcohol toxins attack the red and white electrical spasm, they will either kill or disable. But it is usually they kill. They disable, and that disablement results into killing the red and white blood electrical spasms. Red and white blood cell electrical spasms are responsible for every muscle tissue, for every activity in a human body, building of muscles, maintaining, removing whatever from residues and unwanted, whatever in the human body system. They help manage the electrical spasm in the red and white cell are responsible for almost everything that a human body is able to grow, this and that, you name it. But once those electrical, red and white electrical spasms are disabled or killed, the entire human body internal organ, they go under what? They are put out of action. They are put out of their natural rotational sequencing cycle or natural balanced rotation sequencing cycle. The kidney are put out of whatever they cannot respond straight away with the heart or with anything. The brain cannot communicate straight with the heart. Everything is put out of its natural rotational sequencing cycle. As a result, the brain becomes what we call starved of what we call electrical red and white blood electrical red and white blood electrical spasms. The brain neurons are starved of that. So the brain goes into what we call a partial paralysis. On the other hand, you can say your body becomes, half of it is dead. So with that, you lose any sense of accountability of your own body. You cannot recognize your own body. You are in it, but you cannot recognize it. That's when a man cannot stand up on two legs. Even if they were asked a question, they will not respond their response will be kind of gibberish, or they will be kind of, it will not make any sense. And the most important thing is that you cannot stand on two legs when your brain neurons are in a state of partial paralysis, because your body is half of it is dead. You cannot recognize. Once you cannot stand, you are staggering. You are out of your brain is kind of is in a partial paralysis. Medically, a neurologist will tell you that person is medically half dead. So with that, you won't be able to recall to do anything. And with the most dangerous thing about these kind of situations, when you consume alcohol, young men, what they do is they love driving. They love driving. In that state, you can easily jump in a car because you have a car. You have a car, and that this car is one of the most powerful cars that your mother can afford, your dad can afford, because they're rich. So you jump in a car and you take off, driving at 160 kilometers per hour in a 20 restricted zone speed, whatever, per hour. You imagine a zone where they says the speed limit in this area is 20 kilometers whatever, and you're doing 140. But you're doing 140 because you are not aware, your mind is out of your head. So with that's one of the incidents that occur when a human consumes alcohol. Some of these boys, they end up either crashing or killing some people on the road, even crashing and either losing their limbs, losing their legs. Sometimes they are with their girlfriends. Sometimes the girl is there, the boy crashes the car, and the girl dies there instantly. So with that, young men, I do ask you this question again. What does your life means to you? What does your life means to you? Does it mean you consume 20 bottles of champagne every evening? Does it mean the most important thing is about things, I will always talk about things that are a danger, is that you as an individual, as a 18-year-old boy, or the girl that you take to be your girlfriend. Because in some instances, for women are more vulnerable. Most of this is a natural law or whatever, that their bodies tells them, you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable. Their bodies of a woman, her body always tells a certain percentage of her body says to her, you are vulnerable. Indeed, they are vulnerable. In the Quran, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us that Allah, before Muhammad left this planet, Allah told him that, that I've left you, human beings, but look after these women, protect them. They are weak. He said they are weak. In that, he meant they need protection. They are vulnerable. They are weak. They mean the word weak, I think he stated as, they are women. I've left you with these women, but they are weak. In that, it means they are vulnerable. So, it is important for women to understand that a certain percentage of their nature always tells them that you are vulnerable. But once you consume alcohol, once a woman puts alcohol in her body, that percentage of vulnerability is thrown out of the window. And with that thrown out of the window, then comes what we call the reasoning accountability to security. Because if a woman drinks alcohol and she loses, she throws away the being vulnerable, she thinks, I am. She has no sense of reasoning accountability of herself or security to herself, and she cannot see the man in the next 2 meters, whether is whatever his intentions, because she has no reasoning accountability. She cannot understand anything that is going on because her head or her brain is partially in a state of partial paralysis. First of all, she's by natural law, her body tells her you are vulnerable, and then she takes alcohol. That sense that tells her that there's danger in 2 meters ahead is taken away, so she becomes open to any sex predator, any sex predator, because the dangers we talk about are mainly sex predators, because men they usually take advantage of any woman who is in a state of whatever. If a woman puts her whatever on a no pain whatever, any man will use that against her. So with that, I ask you young ladies, what does life mean to you? What does your life mean to you? Does it mean that it is worth just a bottle of champagne? Does your life as a young 20-year-old beautiful girl, does your life mean just a bottle of champagne? The beauty that is kind of so shows on, does it mean just a bottle of champagne? My people, the reason why I raised this program is about a 3-year little girl born in a country called Kenya, where in Kenya, men and women, young men and women can easily have champagne or their local brew. I don't know what their local brew is called, but because their belief, their way of life says, you are Christians. As a Christian, you can drink as much as 50 bottles of either your local brew or champagne, if you can afford champagne, or anything that can put you out of your head. Whereas in the most holy, beautiful religion of Islam, Allah has laid down holy divine law which prohibits men and women from the consumption of alcohol. With that, Allah has put 5 prayers, 5 daily prayers, to remind us that you are a creation which needs to be guided, which needs to be protected from whatever that either conjectured or deadly traps, whereby, as we said, that there's a little girl in Kenya born by a mother who is 19 now. The girl is 3, so she must have been around 17 when the whatever she got pregnant, or when she had her night out on an evening, the day she went out with the man who had promised her a bottle of champagne. She must have been 17. So she went out with a man, a young boy of the similar age. They drank the bottle of champagne, and the girl ended up contracting HIV/AIDS. After contracting HIV/AIDS, she ended up passing the HIV/AIDS virus to her 3-year little girl. This girl has no job, and the boy who who passed the disease on to the little girl, the 19-year little girl now, is not in any way to support either the baby little girl, the 3-year little girl, or the mother. But why is it so? We are going to look at the 3-year little girl who has HIV/AIDS, and also look at the boy and the mother. And with that, we are going to look at how does Islam, how does the most holy, beautiful religion of Islam guides men and women from getting into kind of a situation which we are looking at of a 3-year little girl born with a disease which is always is passed on from human to human through adultery or practices of adultery or casual sex or adultery, we say, casual sex practices. Well, as in Islam, Allah has it, men and women do not engage in any practices of casual sex or adultery, because in them there are so many deadly diseases, so many deadly diseases. Allah, the most holy, glorified Almighty Allah, who created every living human being, has said He has prohibited men and women engaging in any act or practices of adultery or homosexuality and any casual sex practices, because in them there are so many deadly diseases. Why is it that there are so many deadly diseases in these acts of adultery? We are going to have a little bit of exactly what is a sperm and what have you. Because a sperm always causes from a male being or a human man to a woman. If you engage in any act of sex, they are what we call sperm. At any given time, a man will release almost up to 5 million sperms into a woman's vagina. If you're to engage in any sex, whatever, at any one given time, when a man ejaculates into a woman, there will be about 5 million sperms at one given time. So those 5 million sperms, each of those sperms is independent, is an independent cell, living cell. Which means if it was to get into the structure of disease, each disease will be independent. It might be either a TB disease, it might be any disease different from the other, because each is independent. In that, if you are a doctor who has treated anybody who suffers from AIDS, you find that these people, they suffer from different diseases. In the morning, they'll have problem with their lungs. In the afternoon, they'll have bones. In the whatever, they'll have so many complications. That shows what a sperm, as we said, is an independent cell, like you as an individual, because you as a 18-year-old boy, you as a 18-year-old girl, you are would say you are a sperm or a product of whatever, a sperm and an egg of a woman that became you, and now you're a living human being. But if you recklessly use your body as something that you don't respect, if a boy puts 5 million sperms in your body, and in that they kind of enter your body and they end up on a structure of a disease. Those diseases will be different types of diseases. So with that, Allah has said, my people, do not engage in any form of adultery. Do not engage in any form of casual sex practices. because in them there's so many deadly diseases. And respect life, because once you engage in any casual and whatever, if you were to become pregnant, for instance, like the 19-year-old girl in Kenya who became pregnant because someone had promised her or took her out and gave her a bottle of champagne. After that, she became pregnant, and she also contracted HIV, which she ended passing on to her 3-year little girl. So, as a result of that, she has no job. She has no way to support a little girl who needs up to 38 tablets a day in order to kind of try and juggle and survive with her little life. A little girl, if you were to ask this little girl, oh my little girl, how do you feel? How is your body? Because she is too young, she wouldn't be able to give you an answer. But according to what she says, she might say to you, you might find that a tear might come out of your eye. A tear might come out of your eye and wonder why. So the question is, again I'll repeat the question to 15-year little girls, 20-year little girls, up to whatever, 15-year little boys and what have you. What does your life mean to you? What does your life mean to you? Does it mean you drink and this and that and you disrespect the holy divine laws that governs human beings? My people, in many cases, why I point out Islam, because all living men and women on this planet are Muslims. Over the years, men and women have tried to tell you otherwise, but all men and women on this planet are Muslims. Whether you like it or not, you are conceived as a pure Muslim creation in the womb of your mother. You even have to utter the divine holy oath before you are given life to start the journey to come to this planet. Those divine holy oaths, they include Ashahada Takbir. When we say Allahu Akbar, we first mention Ashahada Takbir while we are in the form of an egg, and we bear another holy divine oath, which is Ashahada Surat Mustaqim. Also we do that while we are in the form of an egg. So with that, every living human being on this planet is a Muslim. And every living creation around in either direction that you look at, all those creations, they submit to the most holy, beautiful religion of Islam, the most holy, beautiful religion of Allah. Allah, the sustainer, the cherisher, the creator, and who created whatever that exists is Allah, who revealed the divine holy laws, divine holy directives, divine holy prescriptions that governs human beings, either governs their bodies as well as their societies and all activities on planet Earth. With that, I just want to remind you that while you are on planet Earth as living human beings, you may come across different ways men, they say to you, this is our religion. Some of those are not religion. They are beliefs. Some of the things you call a religion, they are not a religion. Because any religion has something that connects every whatever to the other. For instance, Islam. Islam is the most holy, beautiful religion from which every living creation was created. The water will connect you to your blood. Water can easily connect to your blood because the application of water, in the Islamic application of water in water, can easily apply the application of the red and white blood cell, because the red and white blood cell religion is Islam. So that's the religion, and that the red and white blood cell are able to apply to the Islamic app in the red and white blood cells to apply that when you eat something which is also submit, or which is which is applied, which is a creation, a Muslim creation, it will be able to apply is whatever to the region of the red and white blood cells. So that way, you'll be very normal, you'll be very okay, so long as you don't put anything that Allah has forbidden in your body. So with that, all living creations, either on planet Earth or in the universe, all living creations are Muslims, or they submit to one of the most holy, beautiful religions, the religion of life, the religion of Allah, and that most holy, beautiful religion is Islam. Allah himself says, life is a religion, and that most holy, beautiful religion is Islam. A religion that kind of I mean, I would give an example of the sun in the sky, Ashams. Ashams kind of brings the light every day, and that light is scientifically, whatever they say, the plants are able to produce photosynthesis and what have you, in order to grow, in order to be able. But those are application, Islamic application of a religion. Because Islam is a religion, not a belief. So we are looking at a 3-year little girl in the country of Kenya. I did ask her mother, what in your life do you really regret that brought about a situation that you are HIV AIDS positive, and your daughter, your little 3-year-old daughter, is positive too? The little girl told me, the 19-year little girl told me, I regret why I believed in a belief which we understand here in Kenya as Christianity. Because every other corner of Kenya streets, you find a preacher man talking about the whatever. They either talk, they tell you, or after they've persuaded you to enter their whatever, they even ask you for money. So I regret why I followed a belief which even promotes the bloodshed of others. Because in that very belief, men carry guns in Kenya, shooting at young men who are protesting against taxes. These are men, the men who are aiming assault rifles. They're aiming assault rifles at their own children. So with that, the girl told me that I regret being a Christian. Had I been a Muslim, maybe I would have seen, I would have been protected not to enter a bar and drink alcohol. I would have been very, very protected, because she did not know about that Allah has forbidden girls and men to consume alcohol. She did not know that. She has never heard of it anywhere in the church, because even when she goes on a Sunday to pray, some of the rituals, they give them alcohol in churches. She regrets why she followed the belief which believes in giving human beings alcohol. So the girl told me that is the only regret in her life. Why she followed a belief, not a religion but a belief, that misguided her and brought about a life that is so complicated now. She doesn't know where to get the money to buy medicine for her children, for her child. She doesn't know where to get the money to buy medicine for herself. Whereas some of her friends who are Muslims are very happily enjoying their lives because they do still pray 5 times a day and they cover themselves as Muslim women and girls do. So my people, what does your life mean to you as a little 18-year-old girl? What does your life mean to you as 18-year-old boy? Does it mean you go from whatever? My people, we are looking at a 3-year little girl in a sub-Saharan country, Kenya, and this is very common as well in Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, as well as South Africa many years ago. Not many years ago, many people died of the AIDS virus in South Africa itself. If you had to go on the streets and make a survey, you'd count up to almost 30% of the young girls who are under the age of 30. They will tell you, I'm an orphan who survived after my parents died of AIDS and HIV virus. But why was it that HIV and AIDS was so rampant in South Africa and Zimbabwe and all those countries which identify themselves as countries that their first religion is Christianity? It's because these are people who are blindly walking with the dangers that comes with a conjectured belief which allows men and women to engage in alcohol consumption. Medical, when you consume alcohol, every organ in your body, internal organ, are put out of their sequencing rotation cycles, natural balance sequencing rotation cycles. That brings about the partial paralysis of brain neurons, which causes the fact that you cannot recognize yourself and you cannot stand on 2 legs. That means you cannot recognize yourself. Your body is half dead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.